people who lost their job due to this crisis. What is your story? Yeah, I just got hired last week, but I think that my first workday isn't gonna happen. I'm a server. I haven't worked since the 14th, but was officially laid off on the 18th. Where I am, temporary layoff is only 60 days. If we are not back by then, we lose our jobs permanently. It couldn't have come at a worse time since we have new management and there's been some rumors about getting new staff. I was about to lose my apartment, unrelated, but my landlord phoned me up to let me know that he is no longer making me leave and not to worry about April rent. He also gave me $150 to go buy groceries. He's a bro. I'm trying to get through to EI, which is all online right now, but the site keeps crashing, so I'm unable to make a claim right now. I'm sitting in a meeting right now waiting to get fired. The vice president is running late. So, that's cool. Edit, they gave us basic info but are talking to everyone individually. So who knows still. Edit 2, laid off. I was laid off from my 5-year graphic design job, working for a screen printing and promotional products company. About half of our business involves schools, sports, and events. Obviously none of that is happening currently, so our business has stagnated. They are going to try to operate with a skeleton crew for the next couple months. The hope is to bring everyone back eventually, but I'm not optimistic. I'm a web developer, pretty much the same industry, fabric decor, projection screens, giant shade structures, etc. I'm optimistic things will bounce back eventually, and I trust my CEO that I will be called back when that happens. He's always been extremely good to all of the employees, and we're good friends at this point, but I'm not optimistic that it'll happen within the next few months. I got a call congratulating me on getting a job 2 days before a hiring freeze went into place at the university I applied to. I never saw my contract, nor do I have any work. Edit, thank you for the gold. I wish it had been on a cheerier post. We're in this together and we'll get through it together, a step at a time. Look after one another, be considerate, and be kind to yourselves. Here's hoping this blows over sooner rather than later. They wanted a co-worker and I to reduce our hours to half each, because they could only afford one of us and didn't want to make a redundancy. In the end, I took the redundancy. I'm 21 and live at home, meals provided. My co-worker is a 30-year-old homeowner with bills and an unemployed girlfriend. Him losing half his income from me seemed wrong. Better me than him. Just lost it about an hour ago. I'm a restaurant manager and they called me and told me to turn in my keys by the end of the day. I'm in quarantine and can't. They are sending me a PS box so I can send in my keys and told me to file for unemployment. Never expected this to happen to me. I'm in shock. I don't know what I'm going to do. Not me, but my wife has been told that basically, we'll call you if we need you, and they don't really need anyone. To be honest, she hasn't worked a minute since the 13th, and my sister was a bartender at an arcade, so she's totally ducked. She's been laid off with the promise of reinstatement when they reopen. Construction. The whole construction site was laid off, and with the way things are going, the company owner thinks it'll be at least a year before they consider hiring me back. Started 3 months ago, and that's at least 50 other people affected, just for this site. The company had several other sites that they laid off employees to. I'm just lucky I'm still living with my parents, and Dad works as online IT for the general public, so he's nice and busy. I'm a plumber, who mostly does residential service calls, and people haven't been calling unless they have an emergency that needs to be taken care of. Luckily I work for a family company, just myself, my dad, and my brother, and we've just been referring potential customers to other businesses who are still working. My dad's in his 60s and with the small amount of overhead that he has, he figures it's better to be safe for a couple weeks, since he knows all of us are going to be okay financially if we miss work for a couple weeks. I was laid off indefinitely from 2 different hourly paying line cooking jobs on Monday, 50 hours combined per week. I helped clean out one of the restaurants Wednesday. We discarded a lot of stuff. I helped clean out all of the coolers and threw away a lot of prep food that people didn't or couldn't take home. Employees were encouraged to take what they wanted, produce, dairy, meat, etc. The place is almost completely empty. It's surreal. My spouse was laid off indefinitely Wednesday. She manages a restaurant and is salaried with benefits, 50 hours per week. She was told that management will not be paid until the place reopens. Our family currently has no work or income. We have a young child. These are very uncertain times. Edit. Update. We are healthy and staying happy, lots of extra time to play with the kiddo. We have food, water and other saved resources. We are exploring unemployment insurance and a couple of other options. Thanks for all of the love. This story could be the same for millions right now. Take care of your family and neighbors. Try to spend and shop local. We get past this together. I'm a substitute teacher. If you are aware that most schools are closing if they haven't already, then that should explain why all subs are now effectively unemployed. It's unlikely that schools will return during this situation, so yes, thousands of people are out of work just from that alone. Subs don't make salary, so any employee who is hourly or paid by day now needs to scramble. Edit. Because so many people are unsure whether they should file for unemployment or not, and are in a similar situation, being a substitute or a different employee that was hourly or a position that was cut due to our current circumstances. Please do. You absolutely can, and should file for unemployment. It may take some time with the influx of applications, but this situation is what that government service is for. I extend my best wishes to everyone and their friends and families. I hope you all stay healthy and hold on to hope. Be smart and safe. I worked at Hyatt. I was hired as an intern fresh out of college for a year. Most of Hyatt's interns were actually internationals from Europe. Hyatt paid us minimum wage, which is crazy once you learn how expensive NYC is. 2 months ago they recently hired a guy from the Netherlands, and just 2 weeks ago another girl also from the Netherlands have just moved to NYC for this internship and had moved to her apartment just last week. 2 days ago HR called us for a meeting and said effective Monday we were no longer employed by Hyatt. They refused to pay us any of our sick or personal days, which I had 7 days worth. For the interns that have recently moved to NYC, HR basically said you're on your own, not our problem, nothing we can do to help. SOL, being laid off is one thing, but having the HR director tell us that they were not intending in paying any of our sick days or personal days was a slap in the face and a massive dick move. I had intended to work till Saturday, which was my last scheduled day. Since they were not paying my sick days, I just called off my last 3 days so I can at least get 3 sick days paid. Hyatt's saying is, we care for people so they can be their best, they really show their true colors, and I would never work for Hyatt or stay in any of their property for as long as I live. I haven't lost my job, but my small software company instituted 30% pay cut across the board. They say it'll be reevaluated every month. Clients keep canceling or postponing projects, so I'm good this month, but could easily lose it next month. I'm just happy they decided to cut pay instead of fire 30% of the workforce, so everyone can keep their health coverage. That, and I'm not sure I wouldn't have been part of that 30%. My job as a barista was shut down for safety and because nobody is coming in, and my summer job, teaching kids how to swim at a sleepaway camp, is canceled because the camp decided not to open. While I'm not in danger of losing my house or starving, I am now unable to afford to continue going to college next semester. Edit. Somebody gave me gold. I don't actually know what that means since I'm new to Reddit, but I hope whoever gave it, and the rest of you all, are safe and healthy. Last hired, first fired. The owner loves me but she couldn't keep us all on, so it was only fair. My side gig is dog walking, which is slow because no one's leaving their houses these days. God bless the biddy whose dogs I walk every day. I'm a housekeeper at a hotel. Last week they cut our hours from 40 to 32. I was just informed that tomorrow they are shutting down the hotel. Front desk, sales team, and bartenders are being laid off for the time being. Housekeeping will now work 24 hours a week for 2 weeks to deep clean the hotel, but who knows after that. I'm a housekeeper in Maine. I found out Thursday that I am being laid off indefinitely. Thursday I had a job, Friday I didn't. In 1 week, I lost both of my jobs. I worked at my university, and a hotel, had to move out of my apartment, can't pay my $800 rent, landlord not helping, and had to switch to online learning as a music major. No way in hell will that work. F&B manager at a large hotel. General manager and HR gave me a list of employees to call and inform them that they would all be furloughed. It was the hardest thing I've had to do in my life. I had to stop halfway through the list just to sit in my office and cry. I had to encourage grown men and women that everything would work out and be okay, when I had no idea myself if or when it would be. I went to work this morning, worked my normal 10 hours, then I was laid off at the end of the day. I cried again on the way home. My husband got laid off on Tuesday. He works about 3 minutes down the road from my work. He showed up at my work with tears in his eyes, apologizing to me for not doing good enough to be kept. He works at a car dealership as an auto technician, where they let go of 4 techs that day cause of decreasing business. They're letting go of more people this Saturday. My brother is a mechanic there, and is scared to lose his job too. They told my husband that when business picks back up, they might call and ask him to come work for them again. Thankfully, I work in the lab of a hospital, so my job is pretty secure. I keep telling my husband that we'll get through it, but I know it's taking a toll on him. I just finished my training as a flight attendant for a major European airline. It's been a dream of mine and I have been putting my love and energy into this training for the past months. I'm in Cancun right now and it's bittersweet because it's absolutely beautiful here, but at the same time this was my last training flight. I'm now a fully trained flight attendant and yet no one knows when me and my other new colleagues will actually be getting our work contract, since the airline industry is suffering a lot right now. Wife and I both work at major casinos on the Las Vegas Strip. Both of us are out of work. All casinos in Las Vegas are closed, only security and a few other key positions are still employed. Casinos are the largest employers in the state of Nevada. I'm sure this is going to devastate the local economy. I got laid off today. I worked in an art studio. There were only a few of us and my boss owns the business. As it's a small business, she just couldn't afford to keep me employed anymore. Business just stopped. Normally we would have 10+ orders a day, today we had 1. It sucks, but I understand completely and she is the nicest boss. I live in the UK, and although the government are promising loans for small businesses, it's not helping or realistic. By that I mean the help is going to come too late. I really hope her business manages to get through the next few months. It's going to be a difficult few months for a lot of us. I'm lucky I've got some savings and still live at home, so it could be so much worse. I'm self-employed, so not technically lost my job, but all my clients have canceled because I'm a tailor, and who needs clothes when everyone's home isolating. Was even in the middle of making one lady's wedding dress and she just forgot to tell me she left out of the country, and not gonna get paid. Hope this all blows over soon. I am screwed. I'm American, but live in Italy, northern Italy, specifically. Worked for the last 5 years for a tech startup that is heavily dependent on renting apartments and people traveling abroad in Europe for revenue, though my job in the company was totally back-end. I was part of the first wave of employees, and really liked my job. We were funded mostly by Silicon Valley investors. The company had already decided our jobs were to be automated slowly and painfully, and I was already starting to look for a new job, but the process just got sped up due to the crisis and we all got the red slip on Monday. My husband is a taxi driver and he hasn't worked in almost 3 weeks. We don't know when he'll be able to work again. I don't know when I'll even be able to get another job interview. We have a 3-month emergency fund that I've built up thankfully and no credit card debt, but I'm terrified for the future. We're both in our 30s, and got screwed in 2008 when we graduated into that recession. Now, I'm worried I'll never own a home and never have kids. I don't know how any of that will be possible. I feel hopeless. I'm going to fight my way out of this whichever way I can, but I'm honestly feeling defeated. And I'm scared we're going to get sick eventually, or one of our family members here in Italy will get sick, or one of my family members in the US will get sick, and I'll be unable to fly back to be there. We had an increase of around 4,450 cases and 427 more deaths in Italy today. I feel like a real asshole for even worrying about my finances in the face of this tragedy here, but I'm terrified for what's next, selfishly, and I have no idea how I'm going to pay for my student loan going forward. It's literally strangling me. If you got laid off this week, I'm with you. I literally just feel like giving up. I work for a ski resort in Colorado. Practically all employees have been laid off and are now stranded in a ski town with little other employment. Many have no way to get themselves home due to the desperate financial situation. I own an escape room. We have made negative revenue this week because of refunding cancellations and no new bookings. We were just coming out of a rough patch and finally showing some profits before this hit. My business bank account is almost depleted. I frankly don't think the business is going to survive. Was working hourly for a company which deals with the shows in Vegas. I read the news about all the shows stopping in Vegas. We were out of work Monday until who knows when. I was the only one with income in the family. I have a small business, but with everyone out of work, who knows what's gonna happen. I've been broke before, but this is different. Both my boyfriend and I work in the film industry. The whole industry has been shut down in Vancouver and we are not being told when productions will come back or start up again. Showed up to work on the 13th and was told to go home and haven't been back since. I'm preparing myself for 2 to 3 months before I can even entertain the idea of going back to work. We sold our house, packed up our stuff and our 2 young daughters, and moved our family to the Bay Area in California for my husband's new job in San Francisco. That was January 25th of this year. He lost his job on Monday as soon as they announced the shelter-in-place order. We left behind our families, friends, home, everything for this job. We don't know what we're going to do. Thankfully, we have savings from selling our house while he looks for a job. We just don't know who, if anyone, will be hiring anytime soon. I want to buy a school bus and convert it to an RV and go live in the mountains. I have yet to get my husband and our daughters on board with that plan though. I work for an eye doctor, and they just had a really slow couple months after Christmas and had already cut down our hours. The doctor canceled all appointments and has essentially closed down. She told us she has business interruption insurance which she originally thought would cover us all, but after several days of back and forth with them it's totally still unclear if we will be covered and paid, in which case she will lay us all off and we must collect unemployment. I am hoping to know as soon as possible so I can file for it ASAP. I also filed for my tax refund 5 weeks ago and it's still not come, so I'm a little concerned. Actually really concerned, but I know there's nothing I can do. I'm hopeful I will be called back to my job after this but can't be sure. My mother works in an office for a company that ships party products. Because of the crisis, no one is ordering anything and the business has come to a complete stop. She's been told we'll call you if we need you, and I'm really worried how long she'll be laid off for. The worst part is that she thinks she'll be called back in about a week or so, but my dad and I don't want to tell her what might actually happen because we don't want to break her heart. It's a tough reality that we're facing because of this virus. My fiancé is a freelance sound engineer. He's not going to be working for the foreseeable future. Most of the big AV companies in our city have shut up shop. Thankfully, it looks like my job is secure for now, software, but we're going to move to a smaller place and do some serious belt tightening. I'm a tour guide. We make most of our money between March and June due to traveling school groups. All March and April shifts have been canceled. I'm praying I get to work in May when tours slow down. In June I usually work in a summer camp. There's some uncertainty there as well. I'm a stripper, which is a pretty big no-go while people are social distancing. All the bars in my state closed on Tuesday, and that same day I went to a hiring event at the grocery store near me and walked out with a job. I was scared because as a stripper I don't qualify for unemployment, and my boyfriend also works in the service industry and his hours are getting cut. I also got a job with the census that was supposed to start on the 24th, but that got postponed. Overall, I'm kinda excited to work at the grocery store. I was kinda looking for a part-time job anyway before this all started, and maybe it will be a good way to transition out of stripping. Worked as a social media manager for a retail store. They let me go as they weren't making enough sales to make sense paying me, and also made a point to say it wasn't because of the virus or the bushfires. I now can't find a new job because nowhere is hiring. I'm a professional musician, a drummer for 2 working bar cover bands, a well-paid church gig, and a symphony orchestra. We have been told that all gigs and shows are canceled indefinitely, and all church services suspended. Wife and I have money saved and will be okay, but I have bandmates in dire straits right now.